So what are the two things that most people get thrown off by when they do these two financial strategies? These are things that can derail you if you get in over your head. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned as I go over this in Fetta Facts. Hey, welcome to another Fetta Facts. I'm Jerry Fetta, founder and CEO of Wealth Dynamics. So these Fetta Facts videos, it's all facts, no opinions. And I want to share with you today two things that I watch people get involved in, right? And they're not bad things, like they're good strategies. They're things that can be helpful, but they sound really exciting. They sound really sexy. It's probably the two biggest buttons that people have where they're like, yeah, I want to do that. And I often see that people get involved in these two things and they get in way over their heads. Okay, and I want to talk about what that is. Now, before I do, I want to talk to you about the concept of doing things in the right sequence with your finances. Okay, now, what is a sequence? A sequence is an order. You go through certain things in an order. If you were trying to build anything, there is an exact sequence. This applies to life. There's a sequence for almost anything you're trying to accomplish in life, and that would apply to finances too, right? Now, there's two different angles that you're going to look at this sequence in. Angle number one is you're going to look at this, and I want to sketch this out on my whiteboard because I think this is going to be really important. You're going to look at it in an objective sense of just like, what's the right order to go in financially? And I'll give you a very basic one, right? So for example, you obviously want to earn income first as the first step in the sequence. That then takes you to the second step, which is save. Then you've got the third step, which is invest. Okay, if you try and do these things out of sequence, they're not going to work, right? So you can't invest if you didn't earn and save. You can't save if you didn't earn. You have to earn the money first, then you have to save the money, then you can invest the money. That would be the sequence. This is objective. Like anybody would go through this sequence if they're looking to invest. What am I trying to do before I invest? Well, first I got to save some money. I got to have something to invest. Okay, what about before that? I got to earn. Okay, and you could even say before the earn, you've got to have some sort of trade-off or exchange or work or something like that, right? This is called an objective sequence. Now, we're going to put objective up here. The next thing we would want to look at is we want to look at what I would call a subjective sequence, right? We have objective, we have subjective. What does subjective mean? This means it's dependent upon you, right? There's a lot of personal influence. So when something is subjective, it's opinionated, it's kind of tailored to who you are, what you think, etc. Okay? Now, it's important not to mix objective sequences up with subjective sequences. It's not subjective that you need to earn before you can save and invest. That's not my opinion, right? So we call this Fetta Facts. That would be a fact, okay? Subjective looks like this. So when I get to the earning part, how do I go about this? That would be subjective, right? What are your skill sets? What is your time availability? What are you good at? What do you like? Like what's demanded in your marketplace and your network? These would all be subjective things. They vary from one person to the next. They might not be the same, okay? The other part of this would be when. How do you earn income? When do you earn income? That would be the next thing. Okay, that's also subjective. Well, what's your schedule like? What's the season of your life that you're in right now? Okay. Another one would be why. Why do you earn income? This would also be subjective. That would be different from person to person. Someone might earn income because they want to give a lot to charity. Maybe they have a lot of children and they want to support their family. Maybe they're single and they're like, I want to put all of this into an investment, right? The differences on why would be subjective. Okay, so I wanted to clear that up first. Now, here's what I'm talking about in this video today. The two things that I see people do that objectively, sure, they're good ideas, right? But there's a lot of subjectiveness to them that don't get considered. Next, I don't want to interrupt you too long. I just want to give you a free offer for my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. If you go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, you can get the book now. I'm going to let you get back to the video. And because they don't get considered, I watch people get involved in these and then they get regret or it doesn't work out for them, right? And I'm going to put these on the whiteboard too, because again, these are the two things that I personally see people asking the most about. Okay, there's a third one on the list actually. We could extend this list to 3. Let's go ahead and do that. The first one is investing, okay? Investing is very subjective. Okay, so a lot of times, there's so many guys out there and gals out there doing videos and content and educating on finances and advisors and influencers and gurus, all this stuff. So you see this content, you're like, this person says invest in real estate. That's such a good idea. This person says buy rental properties. This person says do tax liens. This person says do oil and gas investing. None of those are objective. And what I mean by that is you need to filter an investment through what you're capable of being involved in. Okay, because if your intellect with finances is not that high, you probably shouldn't be investing in real estate. If your appetite for risk is not that high, you probably shouldn't be investing in oil and gas, right? If your available capital is not that high, you probably don't qualify for any of those things, right? And so we tend to ignore the subjective part of investing, and we really have to look at, right, what am I willing to get involved in? I've talked about this in other videos. How much money do I have? What's my timeline? How much activity do I want? How much of my time do I want to have involved? What are the risks I'm okay with? All of these different questions have to get answered. There's not a one size fits all, right? And so often I'll see people, they're like, yeah, I saw this content, I read this book, I did this, I did that. I want to be a real estate investor. I want to be a real estate investor. They invest in real estate, and it turns out there's more money involved than they thought. It takes longer than they thought. There's risks they hadn't really considered the weight of, right? And so they experience these things, and all of a sudden they get cold feet and it becomes a problem. Okay. Investing is a subjective sequence. Are you ready for it? Is that truly your next step? Or is it smarter for you to pay off some debt? Is it smarter for you to get rid of the mortgage? Is it smarter for you to maybe put more money in insurance first? Or annuities, or maybe just buy some gold and silver and sit on it for a while, because the next step in the sequence for you might not be real estate. It might not be oil and gas investing. It might not be even an annuity, right? Like, you have to really look at this. And here's the thing is, nobody can be the judge of that but you. Nobody can be the judge of that but you, truly. You can go to an investment advisor, they can tell you all of this risk tolerance and whatever, but if you're not considering all of these things for yourself and thinking about yourself in this transaction or in this decision, like, that's not going to be something you can pawn off on someone else. The other one that this happens with, tax planning. Okay, I see this one all too often as well. People who are like, I don't want to pay taxes. And here's the commonality. When someone's investing, they're just focused on what they're going to get. I want passive income. Why do I want passive income? Because I'm lazy, I'm tired of my job, and I want to get paid for not doing anything. Okay, guys, just go on welfare. It's much easier. Just go on welfare. You don't need any money, and it doesn't take any of your time. Quit your job, go live under a bridge, go on welfare, right? If all you're trying to get is money with no exchange, like, that's what that is. Okay, there's no free lunch in the finance world. Same thing with tax planning. Oh, I want to just not pay taxes. I want to just not pay taxes because I don't like paying taxes. Okay, good. Again, go on welfare. You will not pay taxes if you go on welfare. Okay, now, if you're going to do tax planning, you are going to set up structures and shelters and various things in your financial life that you're going to need to know about. You're going to need to pay attention to. There can be risks associated. There can be costs associated. There's going to be time required of you. And there's no way for you to be like, I magically put all of my money in this thing and I don't have to pay taxes and it doesn't cost me any time, money, attention, stress, etc. You need to look at what are your trade-offs. Okay, the third one would be debt, right? I want to use other people's money. I want to leverage, right? I want to use other people's money. Now, I want to point out, like, when people reach for these things and they're like just focused on it for that reason, there's a commonality here on all of them. Laziness and unwilling to do the work, right? Why would I care whose money I'm using? Why would I be like, no, specifically, I never want to use my own money. Why? That's stupid. Why, are you planning on not making your own money? Is that it? And if you do make your own money, why not use it? Why would you use someone else's and not yours? Right? I don't think that makes any sense to me. You're like, oh, it's leverage and this and that. Okay, the amount of time you spend trying to get loans from banks and private investors that you probably should be doing a private placement memorandum and registering with the SEC and everything, and you're not, which makes that illegal, by the way. The amount of time and energy you put into that is the same time and energy it takes you to just go earn income, right? Like it's effort either way. So if I want to invest just because I'm lazy, I don't want to work, and I want money without having to do anything, that would be a similar route to I want to pay no taxes, but I also don't want to have to spend money, time, energy on that either. I want to do no work and pay no taxes. Okay, same thing with the debt thing. I want to invest, but I want to use none of my own money. So I want to do no work, produce nothing, use your money instead and keep something for free and just use your money and you pay you back when I'm done. The commonality between all three of those things is I want something and I don't really want to give up the normal thing you got to give up to get those things. It's the financial version of like, I want to lose weight, but I want to keep eating donuts. Right? Like you're going to come up with weird solutions. Instead of losing weight, you're going to do some magical surgery that messes you up for the rest of your life, but you lost weight for a little bit. Right? So what's my point here? Fetta Facts, right? These three things, I know I added the bonus one because the debt is where this happens as well. These three things require a baseline layer of knowledge. Hey, you want to see a magic trick? Get a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. I know it's in front of my chest and my face because I want you focusing on the book and not me for a moment before you go back to focusing on me and the content. They require responsibility. I need to be responsible for what I'm doing with my investments. I need to be responsible for my tax structures. I need to be responsible if I'm borrowing money from people. Okay, there's an amount of control and involvement they're going to require as well. There will be involvement. It doesn't matter the investment. I was looking at some investing strategies today, and it's like, okay, good. They're passive, just like a business can be passive. There can be employees running it, and the owner doesn't necessarily need to be doing the customer service calls or the paperwork. But at the end of the day, that owner is responsible for the business. Just like if you have a child, your child goes to school, you're not the one doing his schoolwork. You're not the one conducting his behavior during class. But if he doesn't do the right thing, doesn't do the schoolwork, hits somebody in the lunch line, whatever, who are they going to call? They're going to call you because that's your child and that's your responsibility. Just like with the investing in the tax plan, at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. So you need to consider if the buck does stop with me, do I want those things? If yes, no problem. That's great. Let's do them. If no, it's okay for you to be honest. And here's the thing is I feel like there's this stigma out there with the gurus and the influencers about making people wrong for not wanting to be actively involved in their investing or actively involved in their tax planning. Do you know what some people do want? They just want to live life and be happy. And that's okay. Some people want to live life and be happy. They want to put minimal time and energy into their investments and their finances, and they want to just plug along and make progress. There are ways to do that without, by the way, giving up your control to Wall Street and the banks. That's not the only option for that. You can still become your own banker and generate passive income without being this hands-on real estate guru, putting up with all the stuff that you got to do when you put up with real estate. Now, some people, on the other hand, do want this. They want to be an investor. They want to deal with it all. That's the game that they want to play. And so they're going to put in more time, effort, responsibility, and energy into learning the game and getting good at the game rather than being hands-off. Okay, so when you're considering this book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom, when you're considering what is your blueprint to financial freedom look like, I want you to think about how much time do I want to put into this? How much money do I want to put into this? And there's almost two pathways. There's a very active one and there's a more passive one, right? And the more passive one is also okay. Like I want to make sure that those that are watching that are moms and dads and they have kids or they're retired almost and then they've worked for 40 years and they're realizing they don't want to do the Wall Street thing. You don't need to do a bunch of risky stuff. You don't need to invest a bunch of time. You do need to have money. You do need to have an education. You do need to have willingness to be involved to some degree or the other, but you don't need to go become the rich dad, poor dad real estate investor of the generation you're in, right? So I hope that this helps you on Fetta Facts today because again, this whole guru influencer network community thing has really pushed it to where it's like you're almost lazy and dumb and you know, poor-minded if you don't want to go do those things. And the truth is everyone's different. Okay, I know some very great people where I'm like, hey, do you want to go manage a real estate portfolio? And they're like, no, I'm an artist. I've got no interest in managing a real estate portfolio. I don't want to learn about it and I need to focus on my thing. So are we really going to say that that person, their only option is, good, go give up control to Wall Street and the banks, then I can't help you? No, there's definitely solutions for them too. And then there's people I talk to, like I mentioned, that's their game. They want to learn this stuff. They want to be very involved. Subjectively, that is the next step. That's the next sequence for them. But that's going to look different than the person who's not really interested in being a full-time investor. So guys, I hope that this video gives you a new viewpoint on this because it's okay. And it's actually very helpful to be able to confront which one of these two groups you are. And you have permission to be that. Hey, I am a mom. I don't want to learn how to manage properties. I would like passive income, but I have kids and I have a husband. And so that's the group I'm in. And that's okay. And I'm not wrong for it. And there's somebody that's going to help me. Or, hey, I am a 30-something-year-old guy. Maybe I have a family and I'm really into the real estate stuff and I'm a very hard worker. I have a lot of extra time. That's what I'm going to do. I want to do 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, whatever it is at my job, and still come home and focus on this stuff too. And I want to do that route to financial freedom. Okay. Now this person on this side, right? I will say this person on this side that's very involved, because they're putting forth more effort, they are going to get more returns and results. Right? Just like the guy that goes to the gym and works out more often and diets harder, he's going to have, a better result. Okay. That's not to say that the person who's like, hey, I'm not going to go that hard, but I'm still going to go and I'm going to get a benefit. We shouldn't really be comparing the results between the two. It's different lifestyles, different outputs. So if this guy's over here making 15% returns and becoming a millionaire in his mid 30s and whatever, because that's the output that he wants to do, more power to him. If the mom over here that's like, hey, I can't do that, I don't want to do that, that doesn't make sense for me, but I still want financial freedom and I still want to be doing what I can do, she's going to have a different result too, but she also has different output, and we can't really compare those two things, right? So guys, again, I'm going to wrap it up here before I keep going. I could go forever on this topic. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. And I want to know your questions and thoughts on this, because I know this is a topic of interest. Which party are you in? I want to be actively involved and really grab this thing by the horns? Or am I more on the passive side where I want to be involved, but I don't have the bandwidth, time, and interest to go learn about all of this full time? Comment below, let me know. I'll see you on the next video. Hey, this is Jerry Fetta here. I want to thank you for watching my video, watching my content. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to learn more about the blueprint to financial freedom and how you can achieve passive income that exceeds your savings, your expenses, your taxes, your generosity, and build wealth like the top 1%, I want to encourage you, grab a copy of my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. You can go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, or you can click the link in the description of the video here. The copy is free. You cover your shipping. We'll send the book out to you, and we'll send you an email with a bunch of great bonus material also for free. Get the book, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on my next content.